Today we're gonna look at more games from our childhood.
Remember those
Whatever it may
classic
be.
online kids games from back in the day? Games like Club Penguin, Pop Tropica, Toontown, they used to be massive with millions of active players, but now a lot of them have either shut down or are practically deserted. So I'm exploring 6 of these classic games to see how abandoned they really are.
Wizards 101
starting
was
with
there.
one of my all-time favorites, Pop Tropica. Oh, and to find out if there's anyone left in these games or if they're completely dead, my goal is to make a new friend in each of them, because if I can do that, then I'd say it's a pretty good sign that the game still has some life left. And if I can't, then I'm considering it another abandoned game of the past.
Aw.
Pop Tropica is actually one of the only games that hasn't been entirely shut down, so I'm thinking it should be the easiest one to find players in. This game
It's
used
not
to
shut
be one of
down
my
yet?
favorites back in the day. You would explore these different islands around the map and do adventures on them. It was a lot of fun, and if you wanted to meet up with other players, there were common rooms on each island that you could go to, and there you could chat or play minigames with people. But I'm wondering if there will be anyone still in those common rooms today, or if they're completely empty. So I made an account and logged on, and immediately I realized that Pop Tropica is so much different from what it used to be. All of the old maps that I remember aren't there anymore. Sharktooth Island, Spy Island, Big Nate
No,
Island.
not Spy
they're all
Island.
gone, and I couldn't find any of
The
the
fact
common
that I
rooms
remember
like they
that
had
is
back in the day where
crazy.
you can meet up with people, because they'd been replaced by the arcade. So I joined it, and there was literally no one there. I tried matchmaking, and in all 3 minigames, I waited like 5 minutes and then got disconnected. And I did this on a weekend too, and it was literally a ghost town. So yeah, Pop Tropica is officially
This
abandoned.
poor guy.
This might be a lot harder than I thought. Next up is Club Penguin. You know it, we all know it, everyone loves it. Club Penguin, it's a banger game. And I'm sure you know that it got shut
Until you
down
had
in
to pay for it.
2017. But I found a private server that you can still play on that is literally the original game. But the question is anyone actually going to be playing on it? Or is it another completely dead game? I actually wasn't sure what the answer would be before playing the game. Originally, I was thinking there'd still be a decent amount of players just because of how popular Club Penguin was back in the day. But whenever I joined, I did not expect this many people. Yeah, this game is still popping. But let's see if I can friend anyone. Because there's so many people, I thought it would be easy and I'd make a friend instantly. But all the people in the town seemed to be AFK or just ignored me. So I left and tried meeting people somewhere else, and the same thing
Same
just
thing.
happened.
Oh no. Shade.
I started to wander around the map, and I just looked everywhere trying to see if anyone was actually playing the game or if they're just all AFK. And I went to the beach, and I finally found some people talking.
Nice.
They were having an animal party, so I figured this was my chance. They told me that in order to join, I had to get an animal costume. So I started grinding the minigames because I had to get enough coins to buy one. These games really brought back my childhood. I played the surf one, which is an absolute classic, Puffle Roundup, and the minecart one, which you can get so many coins from. It's actually insane. And it put me at enough
I
to get
love
the
the
whole
minecart
catsuit.
one.
By the time I got back to the beach, I guess the party was over because it was just one dude.
No.
So I kept looking around the map to make a new friend. I wasn't having any luck, so I figured maybe I needed some help. And I found this one guy and told him about my plan and asked if he had any tips. He gave me a pretty good strategy, so I was off to test the new plan. The real reason I actually wanted to make a friend on here was
He gave him the same tips he was trying to do earlier.
so I could play Card Jitsu, because there was no one here who wanted to play with me, and that game was
Card
like
Jitsu, man, what a
my
game.
favorite back in the day. It was so fun, and I just wanted to play it again, but literally nobody would play. Eventually, I found a group of people and started making conversation just like the plan. After a bit of talking, I finally lured P402535 in my trap, and they had fallen prey to my scheme of becoming their friend, and they eventually friended me. They then told me to meet them at the club, so I went over there, and after getting lit at the club, I asked the question.
You want to play some card jitsu?
They said that they'll play, but first I had to follow them. They told me to go to the stadium, and I just really wanted to play card jitsu
There's
at
a
this
cult.
point.
There's
But I
a
went
cult.
anyway. Once we got there, they asked to visit my igloo, and I agreed. So we went over to my igloo, and then they wanted me to buy a sofa. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't even care at this point. I just brought the freaking sofa because I was so ready to play some card jitsu. After doing all that, I thought they were finally going to agree to play, and then out of nowhere, they just dropped this.
Do you want to be my boyfriend?
What the frick?
What?
And we play every day. My boyfriend in
I'm
this
just trying
game.
to play card jitsu, dog.
What the frick?
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
safe to say that Club Penguin is definitely not totally abandoned.
Oh,
Next up, we
RIP.
got Toontown. This one I remember quite fondly, and funny enough, I still have the password to my old Toontown account before the game got shut down in 2013. Luckily though, there's a fan-made version called Toontown Rewritten, but is it as active as the original, or did Toontown die when the game got shut down?
Toontown was advertised
Well, let's find out.
everywhere.
I booted up Toontown and created a new character. I had to choose a name from the preset list, and I went with Dr. Pepper.
Hey, it's me, Dr. Pepper from the hit drink, Dr. Pepper.
I joined the game and immediately noticed that this place was a ghost town. Like, there was literally nobody around, which I was kind of surprised by because this game was pretty big back in the day. While I waited for some players to show up, I decided to tackle my first few tasks. The first mission, defeat a cog, which are basically the bad guys in this game. The way you defeat them is by pranking them with gags, like you can pie them in the face or squirt them with a flower. So I needed to buy some gags using jelly beans, and to get jelly beans you have to play these mini games, which normally you can play with other players, but since there's no one here, I had to play on my own. After I finished a minigame, I had enough jelly beans for some gags, so I went back and killed my first cog. I returned
You
to
know how
headquarters for
insane
my
it
next.
is that they have the games still, like the sites or whatever it is, they have it still live and open even though the place shut down, like the server shut down, but it's still available for you to go on. That's crazy.
Task, make a friend, which seemed pretty impossible since I'm the only one here. I wandered into different buildings around the plaza looking for people, but all I found were AI characters, and even they wanted nothing to do with me. After looking
So
for way
sad.
too long, I finally realized that I'm an idiot and I had been in the completely empty server. There were actually over 1,800 people online across all servers, so I switched to one with
goofed
more
up.
players, and man, this place was booming. I tried making conversation, but pretty much everyone I ran up to just ignored me.
Jojo.
I
That's
finally
so
managed
sad.
to track down this guy named Wrinkle Nugget. We chatted for a bit and even teamed up to defeat a cog, but before I got a chance to friend him, he just left. So I came up with a new plan. In the
Was he
game,
not
you can throw
comfortable with
parties.
Dr. Pepper?
And I figured if I threw a party, like the biggest Toontown party in history, then people would have to friend me. So I went to plan one, and apparently hosting a party cost
He's seeking friendship by bribing them with a party. That's crazy.
100 jelly beans, so I had to grind some mini games. After what felt like forever, I finally racked up 100 jelly beans and set my party time for 3:30, which meant I only had 15 minutes to invite as many people as possible. I started
15
going
minutes?
up to
What the
people and
frick?
inviting them, but most
No
of them
way.
said no because I guess they're busy.
Yo, you wanna come to my party? It's gonna be legendary.
Nice.
Please come, bro.
A few of them did say yes though, and I told them to tell their friends because I wanted this party to be huge. And finally the time came. I kicked off the party, and honestly, it was a bit underwhelming. It was just me and one other player named Max, and we were just chilling. But a few minutes later, more people slowly started to trickle in,
Nice.
and it started to feel like a real party. We started just running around for some reason, and then after that we started just talking about life. Princess M was talking about how much books she reads, and I asked Gamer if he really likes the game, and he definitely
Yes.
does. After talking for a bit, everyone got bored because apparently you can like buy really cool stuff for parties like cannons and trampolines and stuff, but I couldn't afford any of that, so we were just hanging out in an empty field. I suggested we come up with a game to play, then someone said we should play Dr. Pepper Says, which is like Simon Says, but Dr. Pepper, because that's my name in case you forgot.
Okay.
Everyone was actually having fun with it, and it got pretty intense until Gamer finally ended up winning. I asked him what he wanted to do since he won, and he just said,
Run!
classic Gamer. So yeah, the party was
Classic
surprisingly
Gamer.
pretty wholesome, and I ended up friending everyone there before logging off. So it's safe to say that Toontown is still alive and well. Next game, Webkins.
Oh my
This game
God,
came
I
out in
forgot about
2005, and it was a pretty cool concept because you would go buy these real life stuffed animals,
Yup.
and each of
You would
them
enter the
came with a
code
little
onto the
tag that had a
website.
code that you put in, and you can use that stuffed animal in the game. And back in the day, this game was a huge phenomenon. Like
It was
millions of people
crazy.
played. It was big. It was a big game. But now the developers have kind of shifted focus to a new version of the game, Webkins Next, which has drawn a lot of attention away from the classic game. And with that in mind, it got me wondering if there's even a fraction of the original player base still around today, especially since the game is 19 years old. And by the way, I never even actually grew up playing
Webkins
Webkins,
is
but one of my
19 years
buddies
old.
suggested I play it, so I gave it a shot.
I feel
Since I never
old as
had
hell,
a
dude.
real Webkins stuffed animal, I had to use the free digital one that they give you whenever you start the game, so I chose the dog. and I named him Mr. Dog. I did the tutorial real quick, and then it was time to give Mr. Dog some clothes. I picked out this suit with some boots, a top hat, and these glasses, and he was looking good. But what's the point of having this much swag without having anyone to show it off
Freshest
to?
dog
So I
I've
booted
ever
up this
seen.
phone to find some people online, and I thought this is where you talk to people in the game, because it said 0 out of 500, and I assumed that meant 0 people online, so I was like, oh, well, I guess this game is just completely dead. But the next day I did some research and found out that the phone is actually just where your friends list is, because there's actually places around town that are public and you can meet people there. So I went to the clubhouse to see if anyone was still active in this 19-year-old game. First I went to the park to find people, and it was pretty much dead. The only interaction I had in the park was I did play checkers with this guy named Henry, except he didn't say anything after that, he just left. And the next
Wow.
room I tried meeting people was the reading room, which actually had 6 people in, so that was a pretty big deal. But literally the only thing people would say is trick or treat. Like nobody was talking in this chat. But I don't really blame him, because in this game, the only chat feature they have is one where you have to select from a huge list
Yeah.
of different things to say. Like you can't type
Yeah.
in whatever you want. So I left. Then I went to the vet, which had some people in. I don't even know what you're supposed to do in this. But yeah, nobody in there said anything, of course. I tried like pretty much every room that you can go in, and nobody was saying anything. Like not a single word. Until I finally went to the game room, which had a decent amount of people. I think I had like 5. Whenever I joined, I started playing pool with someone, and they were actually chatting with me.
XDefiant executive calls out COD for trying to make as much money as possible from the game. Thank you. A lot of games call
Like what I was saying is, because I accidentally muted myself, was I like, this is so nostalgic, and I don't even remember half of the stuff. And the fact that like half the stuff exists in Webkins is insane.
It was just a pretty weird conversation. Because of the way you talk in this game, it was going to be pretty much impossible to friend someone, especially because nobody's even talking in the first place. But eventually I went to the welcome room, and there was actually someone there, and they started talking to me. Eventually I actually friended him. So since I was technically able to make a friend, I guess that considers it not dead.
Not dead at all.
But I mean, it's pretty dead.
Yep.
This game was definitely not for me though. On to the next game. Okay, the next game is another one that's not really technically abandoned in a sense, because it's still an active game and it's been around the whole time. It never shut down or anything.
Wizard 101.
But it's Wizard 101. This game used to be absolutely massive back in the day. I remember always seeing so many commercials for this game, and I wanted to play it so badly, but I was never able to. But yeah, this game was huge, and apparently in 2014, there were 50 million accounts. But
Damn,
now,
bro.
16 years after the game came out, I'm really curious if there's anyone actually still playing it, because I kind of doubt it. But there's only one way to find out.
You got
So I downloaded
registered?
the game and started customizing my character. The game has a choose your name sort of thing, just like in Toontown. And the name I chose, Robert Moontail, because
Okay.
Robert sounds like Globbert. I played the tutorial, and once I was done with the tutorial, I got spawned into like the welcome area or whatever. And this game
Lobby? You mean
has
the
the same
lobby?
chat as Webkins. Like you can't talk in it, which is so annoying. I looked it up and see if there's a way around it, and there is, but you have to purchase something
Oh,
to
that
verify it
sucks.
for some reason. Yeah, it's stupid. So I just had to walk around talking like a default, which means it's going to be a lot harder to find a friend in this one. I loaded in the main area in the game, or the beginning area at least, and there was definitely quite a
Could you imagine doing Wizard 101 with Discord in today's day and age? That would be great. That would go insane. You could do so much more.
few people playing. Honestly, more than I expected. I just went up to a bunch of random people, trying to see if anyone would actually talk. I teamed up with this one guy to defeat an enemy, hoping that this would be my chance to be able to make a friend. And he actually answered, but then just left. Yeah, this was really hard to make a friend in this game. I tried joining some other servers, and finally I met this one dude, and he actually answered me. I asked him for some help because I was kind of lost in this game.
Question mark?
I asked him if I could join his team, and then he sent me an invite. After that, I kind of just followed him around the map for like a long time, because I was hoping we would like fight enemies or like do stuff, but we just kept like running. I kept trying to tell him like I'd help him with his quests and stuff, but we just never did anything. I did friend him though, so there's that. I honestly feel like I would probably like this game. Like I feel like I could definitely get into it, but there's just so much in the game. You definitely have to have a lot of free time
This
to
was
like
peak
really
gaming back in
play
the
this
day,
game.
too. Oh
But as
my
far as
lord.
if it's dead or not, this one is alive. Time for the next game, Pirates of the Caribbean Online. This game came out in 2007 and it shut down in 2013. And I'd never even heard of it until now. But I was pretty excited whenever I
This game
found
was
out about it
elite.
because this game looks legit. And what is with Disney shutting down all of their MMO games? It's actually kind of crazy. This one, just like some of the other ones, has a fan-made remake that's basically a one-to-one of the original. I'm not sure how big this game was back in the day, especially because I had never even heard of it. And for that reason, I assumed that there's going to be pretty much nobody playing the game. But I downloaded the game anyway to see for myself. First thing I did was create my character. And wow, there's so much customization you have in this. It's crazy. You can literally customize how tall you want your nose, like everything. Also, my name is Sea Dog because Globert didn't get approved yet. Once I was done customizing my character, I spawned in a jail cell and Jack Sparrow freed me from it. And then I decided to do some of my quests first and hopefully find some players while doing them. I played for a long time doing missions and stuff before realizing that there's just nobody playing this game. And then I realized that once again, I'm an idiot just like in Toontown because I was in a server with nobody on it. Once I joined an actual server with people, I found a good amount of active players. And a lot of people just ignore you in these kind of games. That's what I found. A good amount of server with nobody on it. Once I joined a
Like, it says 8, 14, 21, 47, 16, 16, 11, and he chose the one with 150. Do you think there's 150 bots in this specific server? Like 150 bots in a server just to keep the game awake and alive is beyond me why they would do it. But
an actual server with people, I found a good amount of active players. And a lot of people just ignore you in these kind of games. That's what I finally realized. Finally, I found this person. I started talking to them, but I think they got creeped out by it because I was just following them. And then they just left. So yeah, that wasn't a very long lasting conversation. A little bit later after that, I met this guy, Wolf Phantom Wrecker, and this guy was chill. He started talking to me immediately, and I started doing some quests with him. I was honestly like his little sidekick, and I just was following him around doing different things with him. He invited me to his crew, and then we got on his ship. Before we could battle anyone though, we
had to
had
fix
to
it?
repair the ship.
Yeah.
Once we got the ship repaired, it was time we got active. He was steering the ship,
Can you
and
see
I was
anything?
firing the cannons. We were the ultimate dream team. We were like sinking ship after ship after ship. We were getting pretty good. So then he asked me if I was up for boarding. We pulled the nearest ship in and launched ourselves onto their ship. The only problem was these were like level 19s.
oh my god.
And I was level 2. So I was basically doing nothing while he did all the work and just carried me. I
Hey,
was pretty much
forever.
just running the whole time, and then finally they killed me. Once I respawned, we never met up again, so I logged off.
No.
But I'll always have Wolf Phantom Wrecker in my heart. We were the ultimate duo.
But he
So this
friended
game,
you.
because I did find a friend, I'm going to say not abandoned. However, there is hardly anyone online.
there's this, he friended you, so he should have been able to. Oh my gosh, no. You know how this is such a nostalgic feel, dude. Such a nostalgic feel. Like, what are some other nostalgic games that we don't remember? If you remember, put them in the comments and let me know.